I actually looked at IndyCar for FCA, for Fiat Chrysler. Because of course they used to court, and they still do. They're trying to get another OEM, trying to get a third OEM. So I absolutely had meetings with IndyCar then. I remember being at Indy, being at Detroit, sitting down with then Randy Bernard, and a bunch of folks. And I was looking at it for Fiat or Alfa Romeo. Spoiler.
Hey Simona.
Yes.
You and I have something in common. One is I stand outside and I sweat my ass off. You sit in a car in a fire suit and sweat your ass off. You have aero screens on these Indy cars. Does that allow any air to get into the cockpit at all to cool you off when you're running?
A little bit. There's like some little openings that do bring some air in, and but it's definitely been pretty hot this weekend for sure. So there's a little bit of air, but you don't really feel it that much.
Does it get to you to a point where it takes over some of your thought process in a car when it's that humid?
Well, I don't know. Not really. I always feel it, when I'm kind of sitting in the pit box, because you start kind of you chill, and that's where you kind of realize, okay, it's pretty hot. But like I feel like when I'm driving, I don't really feel it that much, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing and stuff like that. So for me, it's never really bothered me like so far. But also I haven't run with the aero screen in a really hot conditions. But for sure, I think in the race we'll be running cool shirt.
Beth, I can read until I'm blue in the face on why you chose Nashville to run. Has your opinion changed? Why run Nashville?
Because of the heat. So I was here last year for an event, and so last year was the inaugural year of the Music City Grand Prix, and I certainly was amazed and blown away. Nashville's a great city. It's a great hosting city, because they know hospitality. They know how to put on an event and put on a show. So it was no surprise that the event would be so great. So I had fun last year, and I thought, okay, they're onto something. And so when I talked to Simona about the list of, I made the decision early in the year that we weren't going to do the Indy 500. I said, well, what do you think about doing like a handful of other races? And here's the list of what I'm thinking of, and really not what I'm thinking of. Here's a list of what we could do. What do you want to do? And Simona actually picked the races, and Nashville was on the list, like top of the list, because when you can explain why from a driver's perspective, but as soon as she said it, I agreed, because from a commercial perspective, we have new partners here this weekend. I mean, it's such a party, and it's such a great atmosphere, and everybody's having such a good time that it's a great place to bring people, and it's a great place to kind of show off IndyCar and show off, the rest of what goes on with being part of an IndyCar series. And so from that perspective, plus we had great television viewership last year. There's a lot of reasons why this is a great event. So I wasn't thinking about the humidity though.
Why did you choose Nashville?
I think the event looked really cool, to be honest, when I watched it last year. And then I think it was important for us to also go on a street course, because we had done Road America and Mid-Ohio, and for where the team wants to go, it was important that we get one street course in. And I think Nashville is really cool. I think, like Beth said, for the partners, it was it makes a lot of sense when you walk around downtown. It's kind of cool, and
yeah.
I think everyone is pretty pumped about the weekend. And I also thought, that it's going to be such a chaos, and if we're a little bit smart, and have a little bit of luck, we can really look pretty shiny as well. So
yeah,
that's why I picked
what
it.
happened last year. Like last year was chaotic. Anything can happen, and so you want to just kind of take a chance, right? Mm-hmm. And put your hat in the ring, and then you get a shot. I mean, we went shopping for boots last night because we thought we're in. So someone has never been in Nashville.
Yeah, I've never been. My dad has been here like a few years ago, and to be honest, I walked around downtown, and I was pretty mesmerized by what is going on. It was
a lot of bachelorette parties.
Yes, it was
a lot of sashes and tiaras.
Yes, very interesting. Yeah. I was debating, if we need to change our attire.
We probably honestly
maybe we're too proper.
I think that was a miss.
Yeah.
I think our fire suits this weekend were a miss. We probably, if we were to do this next year, we might change it up.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
1991, when I moved to LA, people would still ask, and seriously, they would ask, do you still ride horses to work? Do you still wear cowboy boots? It's the perception. It was so stupid. I said, well, do you guys still carry your surfboards to the office? No. When you thought of Nashville, what did you think of? Did you think of country and western and?
Well, I did a little bit, but I'm quite like amazed that people really walk around like that. You know what I mean? I feel like nowadays, like you kind of lose that, you know. And I think yesterday when I walked around, see like so many people in cowboy boots with their hats. I think it was just really cool because I feel like we lose that so quickly nowadays, and it was I think it's
we
amazing.
become like homogenous, and we lose our little differences.
We all look the same and stuff like that. And here they're really like, you know, pulling it off still, and I think, you know, I think it's quite fun to see.
It's amazing, the live music too. We were walking around last night, and it's just like how much just good music. I mean, like bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant, with the windows open, so you're hearing it, and just how much good talent is out there. Like that's just
like it makes you want to go out.
It's a special.
You know what
setting.
I mean?
City Grand Prix.
Yeah, exactly. It makes
We
you want to go out
totally
and have
we didn't
fun,
read
you
the
know?
whole. We didn't read the whole memo. We're learning that now.
When I went to my first Long Beach Grand Prix, it was '91. And that's when I started to get my taste of the race is secondary, it's the party. Right. And that's what you're talking about, Nashville, entertaining those clients, potential clients. Have a great time. Your driver may be in the back of the field, but damn it, you're hammered and you're on top of the table having a good time with your partners. Is that where we are with Nashville?
It is, but I think the other thing too that people need to understand too is because like basically Nashville's going on and a race broke out, right? So what's great for the series is you often will get people that will go to the race who are not racing fans. It's an event going on in their town. So street courses are always an opportunity for us to introduce people to the sport. So I think for just the future health of what we're doing here, racing in general, like going to cities is always just a way to reach people that wouldn't have otherwise. You know, if you're going to Road America, you know that the IndyCar race is going on, and you're a pretty dedicated fan. If you're going to Road America, you don't stumble upon Road America, but you might be in town in Long Beach or be in town in Nashville or Toronto or St. Pete, Florida, and say, oh, what's going on? Oh, this looks interesting. Let's buy a ticket for the day and kind of stumble upon it. And that's that serendipitous moment where you might be able to create a fan long term. And I mean those are like magical moments.
Beth, we've had frank conversations on Speed Freaks before, and there's two questions. One question, no, Crash would ask if she was here. I'll ask the general question. If you were a male sitting right here, would you have a full-time team right now?
It's such a loaded question. I know why you're asking it, and I don't know that I can emphatically say that because there's other teams out there that are new that, you know, would I be further along? Yes. Were there some doors closed on me a couple of years ago when some people could have opened them? Yes. So would I be further along? Sure. But are people and sponsors and partners now looking at us differently? And like this weekend, we have a new sponsor, our primary sponsor in Acumatica. It's a software, cloud-based ERP system software company. They were looking at getting into racing. They couldn't really find something that fit. And and this was just a couple of weeks ago, as soon as our team was presented to them, literally within a couple of hours, they said yes, and here's the signed agreement. So they said yes because of what we're doing. So now that was always my hope, and now we're seeing that happen. So hopefully that momentum kind of sticks.
An American racing icon, Jimmy Johnson, is coming to Worldwide Technology Raceway on August 19th and 20th. He's chasing history and his first NTT Data IndyCar Series win. Get your tickets now at www.raceway.com.
When I'm at a NASCAR race and now an IndyCar race, we'll see more black people.
Yes.
It's a fact.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Front offices, back offices, crews, engineers.
Yeah.
Same with IndyCar. But it's disappointing we don't see the influx of women that we would like. I don't want to use discriminatory terms here, but is it because they don't know what doors to walk through? Is that where you see it, honestly?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of not knowing that it's available to them, and so for that reason, I came to this very late in my career. This is a career change for me, right? And if I had known about it as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, whatever. If my parents weren't, I don't come from a racing family, so I had to kind of find my way here eventually. But I think one of the things, so Lindsay and James and I started this thing called Women in Motorsport North America, and it's just really a way to aggregate information. It's a website so that young women, people that are looking to maybe make a career change or advance their career, it's a resource for educational programs, jobs boards, finding a mentor, all of these things. Let's just put it in one place because our industry is so fragmented. I mean, there's IndyCar, NASCAR, sports car, NHRA. It's just so fragmented. I think a lot of times people might have an interest, and it never occurs to them that an interest could lead to a career and a career path. I mean, and with all due, a driver is a very visible thing. So you can be like, oh, I want to be a quarterback of a football team. I want to be a racing driver. Like, those are very obvious things. But the average fan might not even know all the roles on a race team. We don't talk about it. And shame on racing to never really be telling that story for how many years. We know all the positions on a football team. We know, you know, in a basketball team, small team. But we know all the things in you know, then you have something like Major League Baseball, and you've got this, you know, really strong minor leagues. We know AAA, AA, single A. We all sort of, even tangentially, we know it exists. We don't really know that as much about racing. And that's a years of probably not telling the story the way we could have. So I think we're doing it now. And you know what? Better late than never.
So when I met you in 2011 with Dodge Mopar SRT, when we were partners with Mopar at the time, did you have any inclination that you wanted to go open wheel racing?
No. Well, you know, it's funny to say that. Yes and no. Personally, so I've been a fan of all of it my whole life, right? But I actually looked at IndyCar for FCA, for Fiat Chrysler. Because of course they used to court, and they still do. They're, you know, trying to get another OEM, trying to get a third OEM. So I absolutely had meetings with IndyCar then. I remember being at Indy, being at Detroit, sitting down with then Randy Bernard, you know, and a bunch of folks. And I was looking at it for Fiat or Alfa Romeo. Spoiler. Yeah. So cat's out of the bag. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that kind of got me into it, and then eventually, you know, wound up becoming friends with some people in IndyCar, and then I was in the paddock all the time, and then got to know you know, got to know a bunch of people that way. I also because we hired Ryan Hunter-Reay with the Viper team, so then I got to know Michael Andretti. I might have been doing a deal to get Michael Andretti into NASCAR with Dodge. That might have happened if I look back.
But you got Kurt Busch.
I fired Kurt Busch.
Yes. That's why I brought that up.
I did fire Kurt Busch. We're better about it now. We got over it.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
You know, they'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
Simona, you hear Beth either blazing a trail or running down trails that have been blazed for her to where she is now. Do you have any inclination when you finally get your butt out of a car to become?
Oh, wow!
I don't know.
The Silvestro Autosport.
So doesn't it have a flavor to it? The Silvestro Ferrari.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I think. For me, like, you know, racing has been all my life, and I don't know if I maybe would do something completely different, to be honest, you know, but I haven't really thought about it, you know, because I'm more the person who's kind of in the thing when I'm in it, you know, and not really thinking too much about what's next or anything like that. So I don't know, maybe it could be something completely different, yeah. Again,
I refer to my daughter all the time, and I probably tear up talking about her, but watching her, when she watches mom and dad's like, man, I hate your job. You're just, you know, but when she watches people like you and Beth in positions, women in particular, you could tell that there's something in her that she gravitates towards. It's a big deal. So to get your face out there is important, whether it's writing checks or taking the checks. I think it's important that because you're fun. You're fun. You're not an like some people that we know in business. Because it's just, as a father of a young girl, it's just awesome.
You see it.
Yeah.
So this is a crazy thing. So like even last year working with Team Penske, this year working with Ed Carpenter, there's that moment where I'm wondering like how the guys are going to be, because we're working very closely with these guys, right? We're bringing these women up. The way that the magic of how we make our team happen is there weren't enough women to have a pro IndyCar team. There weren't women at that level of training and skill set. So we had to take rookies. We had to take people from other racing series who had some knowledge, and then now they had, no matter what, even if they were experienced and had been doing tires for 15 years, they'd never done tires in IndyCar, so they still had to learn it, right? So the way that you do it is we have them paired up with these experienced guys on the team. And the question was always, you know, how are those guys going to how are they going to do with this? What are they thinking about this? And are they going to think this is a drag and whatever? And it's interesting to see the guys early on who had daughters, who took to it differently and immediately, and then not even that slowly. I mean, it wasn't really that big, but to just see them be so excited to impart whatever wisdom, because all the women on our team are hard workers. They're interested in learning. I mean, how great is that when you see somebody that's interested in wanting to do what you do? And I think it's also reinvigorated a lot of them, because you do this 20 years, you can do anything for 20 years. You can get jaded, you can get salty about it, and so it's like this nice little, like they have a nice little excitement level about like, hey, this is really cool. And it's also, they see it as investing in the future too, so it's kind of cool. But I think the idea of women seeing role models or seeing examples, it actually is kind of in our biology. I did a bunch of research about this one, because the whole thing is very well thought out. I mean, I had the idea, but then I started doing research, and I didn't want to do anything by halves. And we're not going to undo the way that young girls and young women, kind of see things and respond to things. So the answer was, all right, we're not going to fix that, so you just give more examples. The answer is just give more examples. And respectfully, that's why I say, like, there were women in racing. We're just putting a spotlight on them. That's it. Like, we're not doing anything different. There are women throughout the IndyCar paddock, but if we kind of put them in a bunch and you see them in this like critical mass, that's what you're paying attention to now. If you see one person, if you see Anna Chatton on one team, but the camera doesn't go on Anna Chatton, well, it needs to, right? She's phenomenal at what she does. Because the thing about racing too is you can't suck at this, really. You have to be good at it, right? You're not going to last very long, So you're here because you earned your spot, and I think that's what's kind of nice, is it winds up being an equalizer, because these women are proving that they can do the job. And how great is that? I mean, you saw us in the Indy 500 last year. Simona qualified that. That car had no business qualifying last year. The only reason that car qualified is because of Simona driving it. And these women who we hired, we taught them how to pit a car in the Indy. They were rookies. They'd never been in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They'd never been to an IndyCar race before we hired them. And we trained them in 3.5 months to pit a car in the 500. Oh. And they did in less than 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. And you can't fake it. So you want to know whether or not we can do it? We'll show you.